everyone, this is Diane and I'm here to do part 2 of my design team project for Artzology, which is ephemera pieces made with 2 of her kits. And one of them is the flower seed advertisements. I'm not sure if they're advertisements or seed packets, but I'll link it below, or I'll link her shop below anyway. And the other one I'm using is her floral library cards. But today's project is going to be using these. I mentioned yesterday that I accidentally printed tons of those pictures. So I'm going to make up a whole bunch that I can keep in my stash. So yesterday's project was, I used my greenhouse plant cards from the flea market that I've had for a while, and I used the plain ones that don't have the photographs of the plants on them, and I decorated them with some of Artzology's images. This is one of the library cards, and I just sewed it on, and you can journal on this, and then I added some trim, and then I sewed it to the divider page. So I'm just going to go through. I didn't finish them up because I hadn't sewn them. On the alternating pages, I just added some paper to journal on or something like that. So this one has a library card that you can, index card that you can journal on, and it's got this vine and leaf pattern. And then I will ink the cards. I'm not inking stuff in this book, but I think I will ink the cards that are being tucked in these pockets. So this is one of her digitals. And some of them I made pockets that you can tuck this in. This is from an Edith Holden book, and it's got some poetry about flowers. This one has library card with the vine and leaf trim sewn on. This one just has some journaling places on it. This one I didn't want to cover up the vine, so I put it on this side, and it's got a pocket. This is a scrap from Tsunami Rose paper. It's in my scrap pile because I was running out of one of the colors of ink, so it didn't print the way it should have. So I just cut it up and use it for scraps. Here's one, I liked this image, and it was all text on this side, so I used a piece of old Edith Holden paper and made a side pocket with a little bit of fuzzy fiber, and I love this card. This is from the Artzology kit that I'm using. Again, just some scraps of ledger paper. This one has a diagonal pocket. Ledger paper again. Another diagonal pocket. And just some journaling. And again, I put this one on the back with one of the library cards. I think that's it. Because I'm not sure, I might even take some of those out, because all I have in here are the divider pages, plus 1 or 2 pages from the actual book. That's all I have in here, and I still have to add scrapbook paper and wallpaper and writing paper. I have to add stuff, but just adding those things to those cards has thickened it up. I mean, it's not too thick. I can add more, but I don't want it to be like this before you even have a chance to put stuff in. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But today, I'm going to make these little Matchbook booklets using her flower seed advertisements. So it's very quick and easy, and you've seen Matchbook things before, I'm sure, but I'm just going to show you how I made it, and with the dimensions that I have, because I cut them to fit these. Some of the cards are a little wider, and so this one I had to trim a little bit. Some of them fit on just perfectly. So here's what I did. I took this piece of cardstock. I was given a little pile of these cardstock pieces that are quite long. I don't even know how long they are, but it's more than 12 inches, and then it's 7 inches wide. So what I did was I cut them down to 12 inches by 3.5, and that gives me 2 for each. Plus I get a pretty good sized chunk left over. This is what was cut off, so it's probably 18-inch piece of paper right here. So any 12 by 12 cardstock would work. 12 by 3.5, and then that's what it, where is it? This is what it looks like, 12 by 3.5. And then I laid it on my scoreboard, and I scored it at 5.5 and 11.5, so that you just have a little 1/2 inch flap at one end. And there's the 5.5 score. So there you have, this one isn't done properly. I hope I didn't mess them all up. Yeah, I did. So it needs to be more than 1/2 inch at the bottom. I'm going to have to score them differently, because they just, that won't tuck in. So 1/2 inch wasn't big enough. What did I do on this one? Oh my gosh. This is my second time making this video. This is 3/4 of an inch. So it does tuck in. So I did that one right. Alright, I'm going to get my scoreboard and fix one of these so I can make another one. First time I tried making this video, I had to change my bobbin because it wasn't wound right and it wasn't acting right. So I changed my bobbin and I changed my battery on my camera, so I should be all set if I can just do the project properly. Okay, so change of direction here. Score at 11.25 inches. All right, sorry about that. I don't mean to be confusing. So I have this piece, and actually this is the one I started doing when I had to start the video over. Well, let me show you what else I'm using in this. Jeepers, I feel like I'm all over the place. Besides the piece of cardstock, you need to have the inner pages. So here's what I pulled out to use. I have these little, this is the size of the notebook, and it had the dot grid on it. So I used some of those pages. I cut them, I turned them this way, so the fold is up here, and then cut them in half. And that makes these little pages that are going to go in like that. Like that. I have these pages, 8.5 by 11 pages of this large grid that I got at a estate sale, and then a regular grid paper, and this little green tablet that I cut down to size. This is just a page like the flyleaf of a book. I've been cutting books apart, and I saved the flyleaf papers because they're vintage and they're neat, so I'm going to use some of those. Okay, so that's what I have for pages. Use whatever you want, whatever you have available. It's one of the flyleaf papers. Okay, so what I have done is I just took one of the images and just zigzag stitched it around. I actually did it twice because the bobbin wasn't good the first time, so I put a new bobbin in and then sewed it around it again. Now I want to decorate this little flap piece. So I'm going to get some rickrack. Something that will coordinate with the picture. And I'm going to use this gold color. The writing is in this yellow, so it'll just bring out a different color in this. So I'm going to use that. I'm using black thread, as you can see. just to hold this flap where it needs to be, I'm just going to put a little staple right near the crease. So there's still room for that to tuck in. Now I just have to make the little booklet to put in. So I've already cut up some of these papers. So here's one of the flyleaf papers. Little green tablet. So the papers need to be, I had that written down too, the papers need to be no larger than 11 inches long by 3 1/4, so that they'll fit inside the matchbook that you made. And they can be smaller than that. That's fine. It's fun to have them different sizes. Here's some of that dot grid paper. I think I put 5 pages in the first book. Just making sure that wasn't too long. So I just stack them all the way I want them. I could put a paper clip on them to hold them, which I probably should do, but I'm not going to because, I have this little binder clip right here. I can do that. You have to put it far enough away from that it's not going to interfere with your sewing machine. So that'll just hold them. Put it on the straight stitch and sew right down the center. You could staple it if you had a stapler that would work on that. Mine won't go in that far. You could hand sew it. Well, what I should have done is sewn it right into the book. That's fine, I'll do that now. Shouldn't have to do that twice, but it's not a problem. So there's the finished book. And like I said, you can make it more complex if you want to. You can collage on this, do more stuff on this, decorate the back if you want to. You can put something, I think I will put something on the front of this because that doesn't look very good. So I'll put the poem on this piece, or maybe a bigger piece of paper. But anyway, just for this cover, I will put something on the inside, because I was having trouble with my bobbin. So I have 2 done. I'm just going to make another one while you're watching, because I had already started it before you got to see. Again, I'm just going to score this the way it should be. So it's 5 1/2, which is already scored, and I said 11 1/2, but it should be 11 1/4. That one's pretty. do want it. Well, I don't have to zigzag it. I can messy stitch it. I'm gonna go around it twice. And now a little something to decorate the bottom. I have lots of colors of rickrack, so I'm going to try to use rickrack on all of them. How about that bright pink one? Staple it. Make sure it fits in there. If you staple up a little too high, you could just shave a bit off of that if you had to. I really don't have much time in my craft room nowadays, and I sure hope that that changes soon, but looks like this week and next week are going to be busy because I'm pretty booked for this week, and next week I'm babysitting a couple days. And anyway, I'm hoping once school starts it'll slow down a little bit and I'll be able to be in here more, because I really want to work on those lessons or episodes that Gina is doing about Find Your Style. I've been watching them, but I wanted to discuss what I learn with you guys. So I did mention it once. I haven't forgotten. I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. I haven't forgotten. I just get in here for a half hour is good. If I can be in here for half an hour, I'm happy. Not happy because I want to be in here longer, but you know what I mean. It's just been tough to have time to be in here. So when I need to be cleaning up mess from the previous project, I don't want to because I don't have time to clean and craft. So you can imagine what it looks like in here. Whoops. I want a straight stitch here. Okay, now I have 3 done. I'm going to keep making some of these, so I don't know if I'll put more than, I won't put more than 2 in. I might only put 1 in each of the journals. I'm making 2 garden journals. So, but I want some to keep in my stash to have on hand to use in other journals. So I'm gonna stop the video now and just keep making some of these. Don't know if I'll have time to do any more crafting today. I'm gonna schedule this video to post while I'm away on my trip with my sister. It's not an overnight trip, but I'm spending the night at her house for 2 nights because we have to leave at 5:30 in the morning. No, we have to be on the bus at 5:30 in the morning, and then we're going to get home really late that night. So I'm just going to spend both nights at her house and then come home. So anyway, I'm going to have this video post while I'm at her house or while I'm off on our little adventure, and I'll tell you about that when I get home. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.